Is this thing on? Welcome back to Movies TV Man. I'm Mick, your host with the most to start your girlfriends and your wives. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X, on TikTok Mad Mickey's World, and on Snapchat BMouth60. Mick, your host with the most, and it's a factual statement. So very warm welcome to Sunday's edition of the DCU Daily. Where are we at with modern day entertainment? They have become an echo chamber where they're not making entertainment for their audience, they're making entertainment for themselves. They are no longer an entertainment industry. An industry is something that produces something to make money. And Alex Garland's response to the question of what do you think of The Last of Us fans' hatred towards that property, he said, fuck them. No, son, fuck you for taking the fun out of stories, and fuck all of you for ruining every single promotional campaign for a movie, streaming, or a TV show. It's all about your politics. It's all about your hatred for the Orange Man. I don't like the Orange Man myself, but I don't sit here on my channel boring on about him every time. Said before, I am apolitical. And oh boy, do they hate it when we speak out against what's happened to this industry. They hate it. They just want to hear, you're great, you're the best, you're the best. Well, sorry, we can't do that. This has become a mid-level industry full of people who, of middling talent. They're crap at marketing. We don't have the best actors. We don't have the best superstars. We don't have the best celebrities. They're not gods anymore. It's all very, very sad. This is the worst era of entertainment history, right? And every announcement I hear underwhelms me. It's an eye roll. Single white female. A reboot of that amazing movie that originally starred Bridget Fonda and Jennifer Jason Leigh, two of the best actors of their type from that era, from the 90s, and that was an outstanding film. Do you really think you're going to do better than that? Mick, this has nothing to do with DC. Okay, let's talk about the leaks, the insanity that's coming out of DC Studios. Now, let's be absolutely clear, this is a balanced platform, and it's not an echo chamber, unlike New Hollywood and English-speaking entertainment. The general audience may be quite receptive to a goofy Guardians of the Galaxy type of Superman film. Maybe they'll go out in their droves and reviews will be great, audience scores and Rotten Tomatoes will be positive, and verified critic scores. Maybe everyone will love it and it'll make 800, $1 billion, even $2 billion. Maybe, I don't know, unlikely, but maybe that happens. And maybe the movie isn't a goofy Guardians of the Galaxy Superman ripoff. And maybe it has something to say about the world we live in today and about Superman. The problem that James Gunn's got here, he didn't come to WB with an idea, with a vision for Superman. He was recruited to write a Superman movie by Toby Emmerich and Walter Hamada, and then Zaslav read the script and said, hey, I like your script, why don't you become co-CEO of DC Studios, and why don't you bring that Peter Safran guy with him, the guy who's produced all those DCEU flops. Sounds like fun, sounds like a party. Now, if what we're hearing is true, now he's surprised that James Gunn has made a James Gunn Superman movie. Now, I want to talk about the teaser trailer that I quite enjoyed that we saw, right? I thought it was a really well put together trailer. Now, one of the things they said on that podcast, which we played an excerpt of yesterday, was that they thought it was quite suspicious that there's no dialogue in that teaser. If I think back to Superman 78, there was no dialogue in that teaser, it was just text. And all we saw was cloud, right? A plane going through the sky, filming the clouds, right? Superman Returns had, the only dialogue it had was the narration of Marlon Brando's Jor-El, an actor who was dead at that point. That's the only narration we had. And then with Man of Steel, there was two versions of the teaser. There was one of Kevin Costner's Pa Kent narrating, and the other version was Russell Crowe, right? So there was a little bit of dialogue there, but basically, if I remember, I don't even think that dialogue was used in the actual film. I think that was actually used for those trailers. So I don't think it's that strange that a teaser trailer doesn't have any dialogue. I do find it very, very suspicious, though, in that teaser, how somber it was. And like the Shields were going, oh, it's so uplifting, it's so amazing. Is it? It was interesting, the tone of that teaser. I didn't mind it, but let's forget about the fact that Superman doesn't smile in it because of all the complaints of apparently Henry's Superman never smiling in Man of Steel, which is nonsense. We get more smiling from Henry in Man of Steel than we got in that entire teaser trailer, right? But why was it so somber? It's almost like they're hiding what this movie actually is, and they're trying to make it look like a somber, compelling movie. Of course, that's exactly what it could be. But it's interesting. So this main trailer will be very interesting to see what type of tone it tries to capture. I would think right now they're stuck for what kind of trailer it should be. And James Gunn told us a while back that he's cutting this trailer right now. So it'll be interesting what kind of tone this trailer will have. But the teaser was very somber, no smiling, no gags. And it wasn't even that uplifting. It was great to see the kid holding the flag and saying, Superman, that was cool. That was great. I like seeing Superman punching the glass. That was cool as well. It was great seeing the Daily Planet. It looked pretty good. I like the idea of Clark having a different hairstyle because it just makes the disguise a little bit more literally different, right? But, you know, we saw some images before that teaser that looked very, very cheap, and people accused it of looking very, very CW, which is something that gets thrown out there as a put down. I think a lot of the CW aesthetics were pretty good. I think that Smallville looked pretty good as well. So this CW line, I don't like it. It's a way of saying it looks like a cheap television show. Now, the teaser didn't look so cheap. It looked like money's been spent on this movie. I have no idea what this movie's actually going to look like. We can only tell from the teaser, right? So I'm going to be as balanced as I've always been. This could be a perfectly amazing film. And I've gone on record before saying that I don't believe that this Superman film is going to totally suck. Because no James Gunn comic book movie, I don't care what you say, has ever totally sucked. His Guardians trilogy, his Suicide Squad movie, his Peacemaker series didn't suck for me personally. Now, if they did for you, that, it's a subjective thing, isn't it? Entertainment, telling stories. But the problem these days is they don't like to be told. They don't like to be told when we don't like something, even if we're being constructive. Now, I mentioned before how I own a theatre and I come up with original plays and I perform with my Amateur Dramatic Society and I direct the plays and I invite the audience after we perform for around 200 people to give their feedback. And one time, you'll laugh at this, there was this kid runs up to me and she goes, I hope you've got another job. I go, why? She goes, well, you're not a very good actor, are you? And I just laughed. I found it hilarious. So I crouched down and I explained to her, I said, no, I'm not a very good actor, I'm not a very good director, and I'm not a very good storyteller, and probably the rest of our Amateur Dramatic Society are not the best of actors either. We're not here because we're the best at what we do, we're here for the love of telling stories, of creating something. We're here for the enjoyment of the art form. We're not here because we're the best. We're not Robert De Niro, we're not Brad Pitt, we're not Spielberg, we're not Scorsese, we're not claiming that we are. We're here because we enjoy the art form, we enjoy telling stories. And that's what this industry has lost, everyone. The joy of creating something original and beautiful, telling a story, uplifting an audience. Entertainment no longer does that, and this is what we've lost. But also, there's this kind of football fan mentality in films, especially with comic book movies. Comic book nerds are the worst at this. They take a side and they wave a flag. You've got the Snyder fans, you've got the DC Shields, you've got the MCU stands. Everyone's got a flag, right? I love DC. My mast is DC, right? But I appreciate the MCU, the good MCU. I'm actually thinking of watching Captain America: The First Avenger. I think that's a brilliant film, right? I'd like to see a Superman film made in that mode as a period piece. I've always said that. But we've lost the joy of telling stories. We've lost the joy as consumers of enjoying stories. And we're playing this tug of war with each other. The industry are tugging this way, and we're tugging the other way. And no one can win a tug of war on those parameters because neither side is strong enough. We need them to make stuff, and they need us to watch stuff. So the Alex Garland fuck 'em line doesn't make sense because you need us and we need you. Why can't we work together? But we can't because things have gone too far now. The industry will not be told. We pre-warned James Gunn about being careful, about announcing all, and you know what's something else? I'm interrupting myself now, but this is very interesting as well. All these cancelled projects now that they've told us, and these delayed projects, Booster Gold, Waller, The Authority. I mean, Brave and the Bold, Gunn claims there's a secret writer writing that, but why won't he tell us who that is? Christina Hodson, by any chance, who ballsed up the Flash movie? Yeah, who did Birds of Prey? Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if he's hiding that, but I don't think, and I've told you before that, Birds of Prey, I don't even think that Brave and the Bold is actually happening. But we'll see. As I've said many times, it was a huge mistake to announce all these projects before Superman was released. We warned them. It's really weird to see them making similar, but even worse mistakes than the DCEU did. Because people keep on saying to me, well, what about the DCEU? The DCEU failed. Well, the DCEU didn't all fail. Man of Steel didn't fail. It just didn't make the money the studio wanted. Batman vs Superman didn't fail. It made respectable money, almost 900 million, which isn't, it's nothing to be sneezed at, but it didn't make the money the studio wanted. And you can argue, of course, and I've said it myself, that a Batman and a Superman film should be making more money, but that film wasn't really a popcorn chomping movie. So it would have been very hard for that movie to make over $1 billion or $2 billion, like a Batman and Superman movie should do. There were extenuating circumstances why BVS didn't make the money the studio wanted. There's the Snyder Cut. Brilliant movie. That's a success as far as I'm concerned. I loved Wonder Woman. I loved Aquaman. I even enjoyed Black Adam. If I do a binge on watching all those movies, I like the first Suicide Squad. I like James Gunn's Suicide Squad as well. There's a lot of good stuff in the DCEU. It's after Snyder left. It's from Shazam onwards that the problems really began. Bland, middle of the road stuff that didn't really even connect. I don't even understand what Hamada was actually up to. But that's gone. So you got the DCU. So you would think, competent people think, right, this is a blank slate. Red flag number one. It wasn't a clean beginning. They used the Flash to do this kind of reset, and they're using certain elements from the DCEU, right? Like Peacemaker and other stuff. Now, another red flag is this whole Lobo thing. I would expect, like, Lobo's cameo is a cameo in Supergirl, and he's probably there for mere seconds. He may not even speak any dialogue, and I bet you any money that's the last time we see Momoa's Lobo in the DCU. But there's something else here, which I mentioned yesterday. It is not beyond the realms of possibility that David Zaslav shelves the entire DCU, shelves Lanterns, shelves Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and shelves Superman, shelves the lot. And if you think this is not going to happen, if you think it's impossible, think about this for a minute. Could you imagine the scenario Henry Cavill being announced to come back, then a few months' time, not coming back. Could you imagine that Zaslav would shelve Batgirl? You know, all these things. So Zaslav is a lunatic, and Zaslav will make kind of reactive decisions. And I think it is not beyond the realm of responsibility that the DCU could be cancelled.